Good morning, students. Through this video lecture, I'm going to take up the topic from Garrison town to empire, the expansion of the Delhi Sultanate. This is a continuation of the previous video lecture of what we have studied in the previous video lecture, and already I have spoke about various dynasties that came up in the Delhi Sultanate. A brief description I have given you already in my previous video lecture. So generally, mostly in this unit, through this video lecture or through this unit, we'll be talking about the terms like garrison, hinterland and fortified towns. Okay. First of all, let me tell you what is fortified towns. In the early 13th century, there was a system of fortified towns. When a town is enclosed from all sides of the walls of the fort, it is called a fortified town. And fortified towns were protected by soldiers, by garrisons. Garrisons. Now, what do you mean by the term garrisons? Garrisons were a group of soldiers who protected the town and fort. Okay. It was during this period of Delhi Sultans. Delhi Sultans were trying to make fortified settlements for soldiers. So these soldiers can stay there. They can prepare there in case of any attack. They should be ready. And in these fortified settlements, that is protective, which proved to be protective for soldiers. And at the same time, the soldiers can continue their own war or by fighting the enemy, and if the enemy tried to invade them. So these garrison towns are made as fortified settlements for the soldiers. And even the Delhi Sultans, they ruled in these fortified garrison towns. They did not control the nearby lands which could supply them with goods and services. Rather, they were dependent upon trade and loot for the supply of goods. There were garrison towns in distant Bengal and Sindh, but it was very difficult from Delhi to control these garrison towns which were located in distant Bengal or in Sindh. So it was a very difficult task, it was indeed a very difficult task for the Delhi Sultans to control distant Sindh, Bengal and Sindh due to communication routes. Because of these communication routes, they were always disturbed due to rebellion or bad weather. Okay. Not only this, the Delhi Sultans were constantly facing serious threat from the Mongols and their own governors. Whenever there was a sign or a slight indication of weakness in the Sultan's administration, the regional governors or the provincial governors and the Mongols, they always posed a threat or a danger to the Delhi Sultanate. Okay, the main expansion of the Delhi Sultanate took place during the reign of Ghiyasuddin Balban, Alauddin Khilji and Muhammad bin Tughlaq. These campaigns of expansion were mainly along the internal frontier and the external frontier. Now, before I explain you about the internal and external frontier, it is very necessary for you to know about hinterlands. What does the term hinterlands refers to? Hinterlands were places which are near the ports for storage of food, arms, weaponry, etc. All these things were required for fighting in war. So these are the places made by the rulers in order to give protection to these things which are required in times of war. So basically, if these things are stored in case of these things are stored like weapons, arms, food, they are stored in hinterlands. Suppose if there is a heavy war or a very decisive battle took place, and if these things get finished, then the soldiers will suffer, and if the soldiers suffer, either they will rebel or they will lose the war. They will not win the war. So there is the hinterland available so that it protect food, weapons, etc. for the soldiers, okay, in times of war. And I have already explained you that what was garrison. Garrison was fortified settlements which was made by the Delhi Sultans for the soldiers, so that the soldiers can stay there, prepare there. In case of any attack, they should be ready in these fortified settlements, that is protective for them, and at the same time they continue their own war by fighting the enemy if the enemies tried to invade them. So these garrisons are made as fortified settlement for the soldiers. Now let's come to the two kinds of, that is expansion, that is extension, internal and external. So the two kinds of attacks were planned by the Delhi Sultanate. The Delhi Sultanate, they planned two kinds of attacks during the time period. One was internal and the other was external. Okay, internal extension and external extension. The internal extension was done. Within the internal extension, the sultans were trying to build more and more garrison towns. They were trying to make build more and more garrison towns, and they were trying to extend the city, and were trying to include fortified settlements, and were trying to get hinterlands also. So internal extension means the sultans were trying to build more and more garrison regions. They were trying to extend the city and were trying to get more and more hinterlands. Why they were trying to get more and more hinterlands? Because lot of land is required which could supply food and other materials to the soldiers in times of war. Okay, and so that is why they were trying to bring more and more hinterlands under their control. So they started clearing. So what did the Delhi rulers did? They started clearing a forest in the Ganga, Yamuna, Doab region. They cleared the forest in the Ganga, Yamuna, Doab regions and asked the hunters and the hunters, gatherers and the pastoralists to expel or to evacuate from their habitat. So lot of people, as a result, what happened? Lot of people, they were removed from their lands and they lost their habitat. Agriculture was encouraged and by giving lands to the peasants. Peasants were asked to produce things that were required for the soldiers. So this is internally how the rulers of Delhi were trying to bring more and more areas under their control so that they can develop hinterland. Clear? Now the next expansion or the next campaign is external. The next campaign, the second campaign is to the external frontier or external attack. Now the Delhi Sultanate, they were trying to expand externally also. The rulers were conquering or invading the southern part of India. They made lot of invasion in South India. This external campaign was done primarily by two rulers, Alauddin Khilji and Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So Alauddin Khilji, he was trying to resist. During the time of Alauddin Khilji, the Mongols were posing a great threat. They were trying to attack Delhi. Mongols were always finding an opportunity to attack, to invade, to attack or to conquer Delhi. So it was during the time of Alauddin Khilji. It was during the time of Iltutmish also, Sultan Iltutmish and Ghiyasuddin Balban. The Mongols were trying to attack. So already they had made two attempts to invade Delhi. Okay, but Iltutmish had stopped the Mongol invasion, and even Ghiyasuddin Balban also, he had tried to stop the Mongol invasion by building line of forts on the bank of the river Ravi. Okay, so it was during the time of, already the Mongols have attacked, they were trying to attack twice, okay, during the time of Delhi rulers, Delhi Sultans. So it was during the rule of Alauddin Khilji also, the Mongols were trying to attack Delhi, and Alauddin Khilji, he gave a very tough resistance to the Mongols. The Mongols, they were the Central Asian tribes, you know. The Mongol attacks were very horrible. They proved to be very disastrous. They were not only horrible, but they proved to be very disastrous. They tried to attack Delhi twice, and Alauddin Khilji, he gave a tough resistance to the Mongols. But at the same time, Alauddin Khilji was stretching his empire, the Delhi Sultanate towards south also. So he was doing two tasks at one time. At the same time, he was dwelling with two tasks. He was trying to he was trying to resist the Mongols who were trying to attack Delhi, and at the same time he was extending the Delhi Sultanate to the south also. Okay, so hence he was trying to manage both the tasks, controlling the Mongols and controlling the Mongols who were trying to invade Delhi, and extending his empire to the south. Not only this, Alauddin Khilji also controlled the small kingdoms or the various Rajput regions like Gujarat, Malwa, Ranthambore, to resist them, and was trying to bring all these regions, all these regions under the control of the Delhi Sultanate or under the Muslim rule. Okay, so these were the tactics which was going on in the internal and external expansion. So these were the main tactics which were followed by Alauddin Khilji or Muhammad bin Tughlaq, Ghiyasuddin Balban or Firoz Shah Tughlaq during the time of internal and external extension. And even the areas or the regions which were conquered or which were brought under the control of the Delhi Sultanate, the Delhi rulers, they collected tax from the peasantry of those areas, and even they provided justice to the people living in that region also. Okay, so this is the fight from Garrison. This is how the Delhi Sultanate had fought from garrison towns to stretch the empire both in the north as well as in the south. Okay, so basically we see that these tasks of stretching the empire to the north and the south as well, and also to bring more and more hinterlands under their control. It was done during the reign of Alauddin Khilji, Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firoz Shah Tughlaq, and even Ghiyasuddin Balban also. So this brings, so finally we see in this unit what we have studied. Basically this unit tells us more about, how the garrison and hinterland were useful, why the rulers were trying to build them internally and externally, trying to expand or stretch their control and to bring more and more regions under their rule. So this is what it means. It tells us about, we studied in this unit, that is from garrison town to empire, that is the expansion of the Delhi Sultanate. Okay, I hope you can understand.